Today we're shooting on a 50mm. I think in the past few videos I've done a few 24mm street photography shoots on a roll, so I thought it would be good to switch things up a little bit for today, and it has been a while since I shot on my 50mm. Having lived through this very surreal period of lockdown, I remember always seeing through the windows of closed down eateries into the empty tables and chairs. I moved around a bit to test out how the angles would work and waited for people to pass by. A family of 3 with a newborn baby came by, so I started snapping as they were wearing masks, a signature of the global pandemic. Another guy walked past as I shot. This patch of light had me immediately stop in the middle of the road and observe. I rotated my camera to the portrait orientation as I think this would work better. I watched the movement and the trajectory of people crossing the road, and right when he exhaled, I pressed the shutter. While not exactly known for being the most fashionable, I do admire the way people dress here in London. I was drawn by the dotted line on the window of this bespoke suit making company. I just felt like playing with these lines. Well, I like how it's already February right now, but there's still a Christmas tree in there. It just says so much about how bad the lockdown has been. These shops have been closed since forever, and that's probably why they still haven't had the chance to take down the Christmas decorations, which is crazy. I liked the gray hair shining under the sun, and upon closer inspection, this was such a pretty scene, both in terms of geometry and lifestyle. I particularly liked how the bright and dark parts alternated in this scene. These stores being so central in London, you just don't see them close like this when things are normal. I found some interesting double reflections going on in this window of Tiffany & Co. Well, I can't even count how many reflections are happening all at once. This overlapping of visuals looked very rich, and so I worked on the angles while waiting for people to move into a fitting part of the frame. I think I'm just like 30 minutes into my shoot, but I realized that photographing reflections, especially in a window, is actually incredibly tiring because given that there aren't a lot of people on streets, in order to wait for the perfect moment, it does take quite some time. I've spent most of my time holding up my camera, staring into the windows for nothing, waiting for the next person to come by, and that's why my hands are pretty much sore now. There were 2 large displays featuring the faces of 2 models, and I thought I could play with that. Ideally, I would merge this streetscape, reflected of course, with a dead silence inside of the store. If you've been with the channel for a while now, you would have remembered the video I did some time ago covering the pandemic in central London, around November-ish, I think. It's pretty interesting to see how things have changed. Shops are still pretty much closed here because of the restrictions, but there is significantly more construction and prep work going around. It's probably time for them to get prepared and get things rolling again once the restrictions are lifted. And so there's a bit more activity going on, I'd say. And of course, the amazing sun does make a difference to how it all appears. This other day I went out also. It's an incredibly sunny day and I switched back to my 24mm. Walking past this main street in the late afternoon, I caught a string of beautiful diagonal light across the road and I thought it would be worth photographing. Motion blur and bikes, it's something I keep doing but can't seem to grow tired of. This strand of light was hitting across the street and all the way to the buildings on the other end. So I stood there and snapped while vehicles drove by.
and I moved to fit the patches of light and shadows into where I wanted them to be. The plan was to wait for a bus to come by while a biker went in the opposite direction in front.
That was a really long wait just now because right now it's around 3:30 I believe, which is when the sun is setting. So as I waited for the right moment to appear, the sun was actually moving so quickly that I can actually see it shifting within a span of say a few minutes. So it's lucky that I got a shot before the angles changed so much that the composition is totally gone.
To be honest, I didn't even plan to do a video on reflections. I've never really planned out a theme for my shoots, and so this really came to me as a random idea when I was walking around in my 50mm and that I was seeing a lot of the stores being closed, but somehow there are some strong lights and shadows that were reflected through the windows. I just tend to, zone focus less on a 50mm. That's also probably a reason why this video came to be. But, with inspiration, when it hits, it hits. For the most part, it has been a pretty experimental approach for me, at least for the reflection part of this video, but it has proven to be really enjoyable to wander apart from what you're used to doing once in a while. I hope that this has been a really relaxing 10 minutes of your day. As usual, all of the shots are gonna be put into a slideshow at the back of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!
You